Arsenal looked dangerous. Arsenal looked scary, and they looked potent in front of goal in their game against Barcelona last night or early in the morning. Depends where around the world you are watching it. Hit the like button, subscribe. We're going to delve into this in a little bit more detail because Arsenal really are starting to click. Pre-season. It's an important time of the year. I don't think you should overreact if your team loses, if you experiment, if certain new players haven't quite clicked into gear yet. I think there's an overreaction from fans in terms of that. Equally, winning a game doesn't guarantee, that's it, they're doing the treble. Treble's going to be done this year because of a good preseason. But it does give you indicators. It does give you areas of concern. It does show you the areas that are working brilliantly. And we saw against Manchester United that Arsenal looked in the midfield with Rice and Kai Havertz. They looked a little disjointed. There was a lack of fight in the team. And I feel like that spread out amongst the team and everywhere else. Now, Declan Rice picked up a very, very minor injury, according to Mikel Arteta, and missed out on this preseason game. And Thomas Partey came back in. Kai Havertz remained in the team. But suddenly, there was only one new face, as opposed to 3 in the Manchester United game. And there was more cohesion. There was more togetherness. The chemistry was better. And that's to be expected. And I think we saw last night, as a rival, this is a worry, why Thomas Partey is so important. Now, Arsenal didn't dominate the ball. Barcelona had somewhere in the region of 60%. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that Arsenal didn't dominate the game. Barcelona are a possession-based club. It's been instilled into their DNA as a club for many, many years, decades, in fact. And Arsenal at times yesterday just let them have the ball. Yes, they conceded 3 goals, and Barcelona were very good in spells, but Arsenal were able to repel them on many, many occasions, reducing them to just 9 shots in the game, where they had 20 of their own shots. They actually had 9 on target, Arsenal, which is the same amount of shots that Barcelona had in totality. And there was a potency about Arsenal last night. There was a ruthless, scary edge to their game. And I've watched a number of the top 6 teams in pre-season so far this year. And I'm going to do a piece on Chelsea later on in the week. As I promised, I'm going to do for all of the top 6, well, the majority of the top 6 teams this summer. And I feel there's something about Chelsea that's similar, where there's a potency that's starting to develop there. But with Arsenal, it's flourishing. And I get against Manchester United, it didn't happen. But that's because Man United played really well. And this is the problem with creating sweeping statements based on one game or result, is that one game or result is skewed in many ways. Because a team like Man United can outplay you and beat you in a game. Because we're a top team as well. They're almost exceptions that prove the rule. And this Arsenal team is looking dangerous. This Arsenal team is looking potent. And then you start to break it down and look at who scored. Bukayo Saka on the score sheet again. And it was such a poacher's goal. An instinctual goal. Jumped on a mistake, put it away, and gave Arsenal that important early equalizer. Then they go 2-1 down. And big deflection. It doesn't go down as an own goal. I always feel like shots like that should go down as own goals, because it's, how do I say this in the right way? It weren't going to go in unless it had that mad deflection. And then who steps up for them? Kai Havertz. Brilliant timed run or movement, you would say more so, to that back post. Yes, it was a tap-in, but it was excellent movement. Same area as his first goal for the club. And from my point of view, that's where he's most deadly. Deeper in the midfield, I'm not convinced about Kai Havertz, but up near the edge of the box, this man, there's something in this. I've seen him miss so many chances for Chelsea But if Arteta can make him confident, if Arteta can get him believing in himself, it doesn't need to be Zidane on the ball. There is a warped nature within football to think that every player has to be a baller. Every player has to be Zidane and Ronaldinho and Eden Hazard and Paul Scholes. You need players with very good technical ability in your team to win league titles, but not everybody has to be Maradona. And Kai Havertz is 65 million. He scored twice now in pre-season. 2 goals in 3 games from him. If he can echo similar scoring patterns in the Premier League, by the way, he played Barcelona tonight. If he can echo similar scoring patterns in the Premier League and across Europe for Arsenal, he'll be important to them. And he's a great piece to the jigsaw. You then get Trossard, who scored 2 goals, both very good, by the way, especially his first. Direct football, brilliant takedown and knock on from Gabriel Jesus. The importance of a number 9 is key. Ball comes to Trossard, bang, and he buries it. There's potency in him. There's a lot of goals in this guy if he can get ahead of steam. And then Fabio Vieira, topping things off, cherry on top of the ice and on top of the cake. And me and Lee Gunner have had this argument on many shows. I don't think Fabio Vieira should be overly judged yet. You can judge his first season, but again, no sweeping statements. Give him another year. Does he put a bit more muscle on? Does he get used to the football? We've seen many a player at the best teams in England over the past 30 years take a year to settle. And sometimes that is a better approach than a player blowing up in year 1 and having second season syndrome and then falling away. And I watched Vieira when he came on last night, and I didn't do a match reaction straight away because it was very late and I wanted to get a bit of sleep. I've got work today. And he impressed me. He looked good. He looked technically good. He looked hungry. And that is what Arsenal fans should be encouraged about. At the very least, there was a hunger. His goal and his finish was absolutely brilliant. And I think someone like him's looking at it and saying, right, we're building a really strong team, but I've got to fight. And that is an element that Arsenal fans should be very, very pleased about, and rival fans should be concerned with. Absolutely concerned with. If the fringe players see the likes of Kai Havertz coming in, linked with the likes of Elise and Kudus, of course, they've bolstered up that midfield. And Kai Havertz could be playing a number of roles for this team. And one of those roles is definitely going to be starting ahead of Fabio Vieira. So if that kickstarts him to make him work harder, push more in the gym when he comes on, even if they're 3-0 up, to ensure that the intensity remains, that's only a bad thing for rivals and a very positive thing for Arsenal Football Club indeed. Now, look, as I've said all summer, this result doesn't 100% mean that Arsenal are going to go one better next year and win the Premier League. But it's an indicator that there's potency in this team. I see a lot of Arsenal fans talk about we need a prolific number 9. I don't think you do. I think that Saka and Martinelli and Trossard, along with Gabriel Jesus, and then a sprinkling of goals from the Kai Havertz and the Fabio Vieiras is more than enough. And if you throw in Elise, who I think will score and create much more at a better club, or maybe a Mohamed Kudus to this team, yes, there's no prolific number 9. But you have a number 9 that can bring the play together impeccably well in Gabriel Jesus. And you have goal scorers and match winners around him. It's no mean feat. And Thomas Partey in the middle. I know I've already briefly mentioned it. Him staying is bad news indeed. Rivals have got to hope he agrees a deal. Hope he agrees a deal to go and play in Saudi. Hope he does it, because if he doesn't and he stays, him and Declan Rice together, technical ability for days, power, speed, stamina. It's going to be very hard to outdo them in a battle. And you've got to remember, they were playing in, I know it was late at night, but they were playing in LA, heats up, fitness isn't where you want it to be yet, and it's pre-season, so there's an element of exhibition, and when you make all the substitutions, you always become more open. Imagine that team, 90 minutes, full intensity, full fitness, with Rice added to the mix. As they click and that chemistry grows. Dangerous. I think rivals are banking on an Arsenal collapse, of deluding themselves. They're laboring under this illusion that last year was some weird Leicester season without the victory of the Premier League. All you're doing, in my opinion, is one, you're angering the football gods, and two, you're setting yourself up for failure. This Arsenal team are going nowhere. This Arsenal team are getting scarier. This Arsenal team are dangerous. Hit the like and share button, subscribe, go and download the latest episode of the Top 6 podcast as well. Scan the QR code or click on the link below. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again